Hi, I'm Janie, and I'm the owner of the JC League House in Galveston, Texas. And you've probably already noticed this is not the JC League House, and I'll explain that in a minute. But I wanted to start out by giving a big thank you to Caleb from Second Empire Strikes Back. I'd been out with a girlfriend and having lunch and came home and noticed that my subscribers had just jumped through the roof. I had all these comments, and as I started reading them, I realized he had given my channel and 4 others a shout out in one of his videos, and it was so nice of him, and I was really touched because I followed he and Kim almost from the beginning of their channel. I love everything they're doing. He shouldn't compare his house to anyone. It's fabulous in its own way, as are all these old houses. It was just really nice for him to be so supportive, and I got tickled, and my family got tickled because he said I'm the lady with no social media skills, and I interpreted that to be I'm the old lady with no social media skills. So it was very gentlemanly of him not to mention my age, but he nailed me so perfectly in his description. I'm a novice at the social media thing. I won't even tell you some of the embarrassing things I've had trying to learn how to do this, but I do have a passion for old houses, and I've been getting a lot of questions about who am I, what is my background, how did I get started in this home restoration business. And I thought this was a great place to start and introduce myself, because this is my native habitat. This is my day job. It's what I do most of my days. All of my husband's time is spent doing this. We buy and rehab houses, basically 50s ranch houses. And we don't flip them, but we hold them long-term for rental property. He's actually here in the back doing some plumbing. He asked not to be on camera. Plumbing is never a pleasant thing. Hopefully we won't hear loud shouting from the bathroom back there. But he and I do probably 95% of the work ourselves. He does all the plumbing, electrical, finish carpentry. I sheetrock, do trim, tile. I do a little plumbing myself. I do all the painting. You name it, we've done it. I've roofed houses. I grew up working with my dad. He was a very kind of skilled handyman. He was a house painter by trade, so I think I was born with a paintbrush in my hand. I've requested when I die, do not put a paintbrush in my hand in the coffin. I don't want to go out that way. I have loved old houses since I was a small child. I don't know why. It's just something I've always been drawn to. And Houston doesn't really have any. Houston developed around the core downtown area, and as downtown grew, everything was razed and torn down. I think there's one really nice house, the old Red Cross headquarters, still standing, but almost everything else is gone until you get, maybe in the Heights, there's a handful of homes over 100 years old, but we just don't have much. So it's always been a dream of mine, but really no way in Houston to fulfill that dream. Then I discovered Galveston and the old homes down there, and it's just a wonderful community and so many homes, a lot of them in bad shape, and I was very fortunate to get the League House and kind of be able to live out my dream. But my background starts up here in Houston with 50s ranch-style houses. My husband and I have been buying and rehabbing these houses for, 30, 35 years or so. They're not glamorous. It's like what you see on TV, basic flips, gut, redo. Although we're not flippers, we buy and hold for rental property. And every time a renter moves out, we do a little more to a house. Some we've done, big, massive upfront redos, but a lot of them we buy and just did what we could with the money we had at the time, and then save up, and when a tenant moves out, do a little more until the houses are in good shape. We consider ourselves pretty good landlords. We try to keep everything in working order, and have always done the best we could. But we recently had a pretty devastating event, and that was Hurricane Harvey, and we lost in Harvey, or significantly damaged in Harvey, our house, 4 rental houses, my sister's house, my mom's house, serious damage. It's been torn down, and a new house is going in. Sadly, we couldn't save that one. one of my sister's rental property, which had 4 feet of water in it. It had to be torn down. We had flooding on the ground floor in both the apartments in the Lucas apartment in Galveston, and water damage on the 2 upper floors there. So it's been a long haul in the last 5 years, and the tenant just moved out of this house, and so I'm here. This is kind of my job. This is how I support my hobby down there at the League house, and that's by working up here. This is where we get our income from. So I haven't been at the League house in a while. For one, it's super hot down there, and I have air conditioning here, although my husband just told me the air conditioning's gone out in this house, so today's not going to be a great day. But this has to be my priority. So when we have a turnover or something go on, I have to work up here. And you notice there's no crew. It's just my husband and I. We do 100% of the work ourselves. We had a little bit of help in Harvey, but not much. So we're kind of the show up here because it's all things we can do. Ceilings are 8 foot for the most part. I can climb on everything. We can do the work. It's not the complicated masonry. So this is how we make a living. And I'll show you a little bit about this house and the things I'm doing right now. So in this house, the water was maybe this high. So what we did, depending on the room and the condition, we either took off all the sheetrock on the wall from the ceiling down, or 4 feet or 2 feet. And the reason we did that was to be efficient in the use of the sheetrock. We could cut a 4x8 sheet in half and get a 2-foot section, or turn it sideways and do a 4-foot section. So it just made the work go quicker and easier. We also did things like complete window replacement. We had some neighbors down the street, and they elected, instead of repairing their house, to tear it down and build a new house. And a couple of years before Harvey, they had gotten new windows. So my husband was able to go down and salvage all their windows, and we finagled the walls and the openings to reuse all those windows down here and replace all the windows, so we have now nice new double pane windows in this house. So it was a pretty awful house when we bought it, and every time a tenant leaves, we try to do one thing to make it better. In this case, everything got done. New plumbing, new electrical. It was almost a gut and redo. New bathrooms, new kitchen. There was so much damage that everything had to go. This is kind of an example, just like you see on the home remodel. It shows, we go in, and every time a tenant moves out, we try to make it better. Now with Harvey, the whole house got better all at once, because it was, when you gut everything 4 foot down and have to remove everything, you have no choice but to go back in new. So I reconfigured the kitchen. It had these huge, big sliding glass doors that went out onto a deck, which really meant the kitchen started about right here. It was very tiny with no counter space. So I had my husband frame out and put a small window there so that we could build cabinets all the way out, add upper cabinets, which weren't there before, and make a really nice galley style kitchen. So it's not finished. The tenants that were here wanted to come back. We were right next to an elementary school, and they had 4 small children. They'd only been here 6 weeks when the house flooded, but they were really nice. The house wasn't finished, and they lost their temporary housing. So I brought them back to the house, and they walked around, and I showed them what I could and couldn't get done before they needed to move in. And they agreed to move in and let us work on the house while they lived here. So, for example, my husband had built the shell of the base cabinets, and we put the countertop on, but there were no doors or drawers. There were no uppers. They just had a countertop and a sink, and they moved in and lived like that for about a year while we finished everything else out. There's a lot of stuff that's not painted. There's trim that's just primed, because I was trying to get it cleaned up and livable. And then I come back periodically when the kids are at school and do a little work here and there. But we still have to trim out cabinets, a lot of painting. I really need to make a punch list. But my goal for today is we've got to flip this thing and get income, because without income, I can't work on my hobby, which is the League house. So it's 2,800 square feet. By the end of the day today, I'll have every wall painted. I've spent 2 days cleaning and scrubbing and prepping so I can get the big roller out and just hit this thing. The painting will go really fast because in this house we've learned tricks over the years, and that is the wall color and the ceiling color and the trim color is all the same. It makes repainting so quick because you don't have a lot of detailed cut-in to do. If you drip paint on your baseboard, nobody can see it. It cleans up real fast. Usually we do a little creamier color, but this house was redone by an architect and it has kind of this funky modern feel. So we went a little lighter to attract a younger renter to this house. But I paint like the wind. Like I said, my dad was a house painter. He had me painting from the time I could walk. I'll be done in here in no time flat. And then I'll work on my punch list while it's cleaned out and showing for the next tenant. So those things I can come in and, put trim up here and there and, check things. So that's my goal for today. This is an example of the magnitude of the work that went on after Hurricane Harvey. Everything was gutted 4 feet down, but this wall had these weird sit-in fixed pane windows, and it was rotted. This house was in horrible shape when we bought it. We did extensive work before the first tenants moved in. But like I said, every time somebody moves, we do a little more. But with Harvey, this whole wall had to come down, and these were some of the windows from our neighbor's house that my husband salvaged, and we rebuilt to put in. But you can see, the trim was never painted, nail holes were never filled. We were just trying to get them in here and move quickly. Another huge problem in this house was that it had, 6 or 7 big skylights, and they all leaked, and the beams were rotted, sheetrock was falling down, they all had to come out, had to have new roof, extensive work. And then I know he was an architect, but that doesn't mean he did good work. When they added on, they closed in this porch, and this was sunken in from the old porch, and it was a real tripping hazard. People could fall off, and it cut this room in half, so it left a little small room and then a drop down in this area, which was wasted space. So we lost the hardwoods. It had tile, it had carpet. I think it had 5 different kinds of flooring. It was a real hodgepodge of stuff. So everything had to come out with Harvey. I just poured a thin layer of concrete on everything to clean it up and stained it. And then in this area, though, I built a dam across here and filled it in with about 6 inches of concrete to level it out and make really nice, usable space of this area. And then I put a contrasting tile down here so it wouldn't be a tripping hazard. So when people see the change in color, they are aware that there's a step. It's a great house. It's right next door to a school. Hopefully another young family will come in and enjoy it. But this will be my project for today. And then maybe next week I'll be able to get back to the League House and do what I love, which makes no sense because it's the same kind of work. It's just here, it's tedious, and a job down there, it's fun. So. My sister's here filming me, so I'm going to ask her, what else did people ask?
People have asked about your background because seems like you're an engineer.
Yeah, my background. Okay, I call it a quasi-engineer. I have a bachelor's and a master's from Texas A&M University from the College of Engineering, but my bachelor's is in industrial distribution, which was kind of half engineering, half business. My master's is in engineering technology, focused on manufacturing processes and business, and then I have a law degree from the University of Houston. So I actually had a full-time career at the old Houston Lighting and Power and then Reliant Energy for 23 years, and we did this work nights and weekends until I fully retired in 2008, I guess. So I did study engineering. I took metallurgy, machine shop. It was kind of what I call the old school mechanical engineering was the basis of the programs. We did lathes and foundry, a lot of hands-on work in addition to the engineering theory. So I do have training in that. I'm not a registered professional engineer. I've forgotten so much of it. I use kind of the practical side of it in the house restoration. So it's not foreign to me. So that's kind of it for this house. My husband and I we had a horrible day yesterday. He usually doesn't go with me down there. It's not his thing. House, when he has the day off, he wants to do something else, go fish or rest. We are old, but it's my weird hobby. He's very supportive of me, and he goes when I need him to. And yesterday he went with me, and we mowed the yard, and we weeded that whole big lot, and the heat index was 106. Today it's 112. All right, I've been mowing for an hour and a half, and I think I might die. It's so hot. A rare sighting. My husband's down helping me today. He felt sorry for me. Then it was time to shake that peach tree, and boy did I get a lot of peaches. It took me a long time once I got home to clean and process all those peaches and get them frozen. But I'm going to enjoy some really good peach cobbler later. That's it for today. I hope that tells you a little bit more about who I am and why I'm so passionate about this old house. And by now you've probably seen the video that I'm turning it over to a nonprofit, because my real passion is that this house be preserved for all generations to come, not just for my enjoyment. You can check out our website, League-Kempner House.org. There's a donate button if you'd like to contribute to our cause, or a volunteer sign-up form if you'd like to help us with some physical labor. If not, just keep watching these YouTube videos, because that helps us too. And you can also check us out on Instagram and Facebook. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time here at the League-Kempner House in Galveston, Texas.